What's up, guys? Happy Thursday. It's August 12th, 2021. We have a pretty spread out day of baseball today. I kind of polled you guys yesterday on what you might want in terms of the VOD content today. I did say there's probably no live stream today, and we're going to go ahead and stick to that because these slates on Fanduel and DraftKings, they get weird, mama. Today, this afternoon, tonight, being the Field of Dreams game, and then a lot of games staggered early in the afternoon. So it's just going to be kind of like a weird scheduled day. It's kind of hard to provide live content. So this will be the bulk of the content today. And what I'll do in this video is I will actually go game by game, breaking down the early main slate for DraftKings. FanDuel has many of these games, although they also have it kind of staggered as well. The early, and it's weird. It's just weird. Hopefully you guys had a strong night last night. A lot of weather. We had to jump through a lot of hoops there. But man, did we get pitching right. Corbin Burns did his thing. Alek Manoah did his thing. Adam Wainwright did his thing, man. I was happy with those guys. Gossman, not so much, but I was really satisfied with the results. So hopefully you guys got on the right side there. And Ozzy Albies with the walk-off, putting the Braves in first place, man. Baseball is so fun right now. Yeah. If you're stumbling across this video on YouTube, what you see on the screen is rundfs.com. That's the place where we don't just play DFS, we run DFS. And if you guys are trying to expand your DFS game, take it to a new level, man, come check us out. Come be part of our community, pretty tight-knit community in that premium Discord. And of course, if you do get the VIP subscription, you get access to the spreadsheets that we've created for baseball, basketball, and football, which includes projections, my player pools, all that good stuff. So fun community, good times, and a lot of really strong winners at all different bankroll levels, man. I'm talking quarter arcades, I'm talking literal millionaire maker winners in there. So no matter what your experience level is, or if you're balling on a budget, or you're a high roller, as long as you ain't got an ego, we got a space for you. So come check us out. This video brought to you by PrizePicks. You know how we do. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Nats and the Mets game. I think this is game one of a doubleheader. It's going to catch the DraftKings early main slate, and then I think the FanDuel late main slate has game number 2. It gets really weird. Eric Fetty on the bump, taking on Marcus Stroman as your projected starting pitchers here. The Nats, an implied run total of 3.7. The Mets have an implied run total of 5. Marcus Stroman's a little bit more intriguing to me today than he typically is, and I think the main reason why I am a little bit intrigued with Marcus Stroman is because his is he offers a pitch type and a repertoire of somebody that can go out there and eat innings when he's on. And this being a doubleheader game, just 7 innings, you might steal yourself a complete game, get that CG bonus. We saw him go 8 innings at Cincinnati. 7 innings is all we need today to steal a CG, and if he's really on, maybe get a CGSO. Hasn't gone more than 5.2 innings in his last 3 starts, but the level of difficulty a little bit higher than the Nats lineup. Juan Soto being the biggest key to success, I think. So I actually don't hate taking some shots on Marcus Stroman. He's not somebody I ever play for elevated strikeouts or anything like that, but I do like the chance of him stealing a complete game today and keeping the Nats at bay. This Nats team has half and half, a bunch of 1 and 4 K rates and a couple of contact guys. Juan Soto, of course, the most menacing bat here. He is a problem. A 1 OPS against righties since the beginning of last year. Everything around that doesn't project extremely well. Alcides Escobar, Josh Bell, and Yadiel Hernandez have been hitting at a decent clip average-wise, but only Josh Bell has parlayed that with any type of power. And Stroman, his game is ground balls, man. 53% ground ball rate this year against lefties, 47.6% ground ball rate against righties. So if you can keep the ball on the ground, keep the contact low, and not waste pitches, I kind of dig the idea of getting to some Stroman. He's not my number 1 pitcher, maybe even not even number 2, but he is somebody I would get to on this early main slate. Eric Fetty, a little bit more exploitable, right? 287 average to lefties. This this Mets lineup is going to be pretty lefty heavy. They have a decent run total projection, and that's bullpen also pretty beatable. So the Mets stack is viable, but I'm wondering if the field is a little bit more skittish about going after the Mets stack because of the 7 innings. But if you ask me, man, I think they really lose 1 inning of at bat because it looks like a game they should win offensively versus offense. So you would probably not have that 9th inning anyway, and then you just lose 3 outs in the 8th. So I don't think that's enough for me to be scared off. It's not like this is a 5-6K stack. Just Javi Baez over 5K in this Mets lineup. I would be willing to take some discount here, even if it's just 3 implied at bats. But Brandon Nimmo, Jeff McNeil, Pete Alonso, Dom Smith, all guys I can get to in this projected lineup. And even Javi Baez. I mean, what's value at 5-1, right? You get 1 at bat, you get 5 at bats. If you go 0 for 5, 1 for 5, or 1 for 3, and it's a homer, you get that home run, you take your chances. So I'm in on the Mets stack, and I'm not going to let the 7 innings scare me off. And like I said, I think there's plenty of value to be had here because we will be paying up for pitcher more than likely if weather permits. So give me some Mets bats here. No Eric Fetty for me. A little bit of Marcus Stroman. Moving on to the next one. Cardinals. Wade LeBlanc taking on JT Brubaker of the Bucks. The Pirates. 4.4 is your implied run total for the Pirates. 4.7 for the Cardinals. Wade LeBlanc, pure contact guy. Just a 14% K rate to righties this season. An 11.8% K rate to lefties this season. And an elevated home run per 9 to lefties, but just Gregory Polanco in this projected lineup will bat lefties, so not to get too sneaky with that one. I definitely would isolate the righty splits here. Brian Hayes, Brian Reynolds, and if Hoy Park hit the lineup, which he might because he's been solid, I'd be looking at him as potential plays from the Pirates side. Brubaker is a guy that I think in 100 lineups I could make a case for him to fill out the back end of the pitcher pool. A 3.68 xFIP to righties, a 25.1% K rate to righties. This Cardinals lineup more than likely comes out pretty righty heavy. Right now I've got all but 2 hitters and the pitcher coming out righty, so there is a world where he could 1-4 his way to a decent day at 8,200, get 16 to 20, but his weakness is power. Almost a 2 homer per 9 to lefties and a 1.87. I'm not gonna do it. That's too easy. That's too easy. A 1.87. Anyway, 1.87 homer per night to righty. So Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Arenado, Tyler O'Neill, all guys that can generate some power in this spot, all have pretty decent ISOs against righties. So I could see both sides of that being played here. But like I said, in Mass Field, I think Brubaker is somebody I put in my back pocket. No Wade LeBlanc for me. Just not enough to get excited about. Sierra expected ERA too high. The WHIP 1.5 and the K rate really doggone low. Dodgers at the Phillies. Mitch White projected to be the starter for the Dodgers right now, but don't quote me. That could change as we get closer to this game. They've been kind of dealing with some openers, and yesterday we saw David Price start that game for them, and they've dealt with rain in the Max Scherzer start, so it could be Dave Roberts piecing together a plan here. But Mitch White is the name we got right now. Ranger Suarez for the Phillies. Suarez, of course, a converted bullpen arm in his own right. I believe he was their closer, and now it's going to start the game, open games for him, 2-3 innings in his last 2 appearances, so you can't really expect him to go deep enough to really make an impact in terms of ceiling. So I really don't think either starting pitcher is in play for me. The Dodgers have a 5.3 implied run total, and the Phillies right now slight favorites, 5.5. Mookie Betts going to the injured reserve list, but that doesn't really hinder my interest in the Dodgers because they're still pretty freaking stanky, right? Trey Turner, Max Muncy, Will Smith, Corey Seager, and hey, last night, Cody Bellinger, wake up, do things. Well, he woke up and he did some things. He hit not 1, but 2 homers yesterday, and that's a homer in 3 of his last 4 games, man. Is he getting right? That's a nasty 8-hole hitter if it is, man. I'll tell you what. So I do like the Dodgers here. I think I will always like the Dodgers as long as this team is this team for the rest of the year. You're not going to find me not stacking Dodgers. And Ranger Suarez in his own right has been pretty doggone solid. But like I said, just piecing together 2-3 innings, maybe he gets stretched out a little bit more. But I'm in on the Dodger stack here. But it's not necessarily isolating the weaknesses or the strengths of Ranger Suarez. It's just me betting on the talent. Phillies-wise, Mitch White, somebody that has struggled so far against lefties, a 302 average allowed to lefties, 186 homer per nine, very small sample size. Bryce Harper has entered the chat. And I think he profiles pretty well. He's been really, really strong really since the All-Star break. 933 OPS against righties since the beginning of last year. 266 ISO. Brad Miller also might crack the lineup, but he's really doggone cheap on both sides. 3,200 on DraftKings, 2,300 on Fanduel. So I don't mind those two either. I think this game stack could get really, really fun. I think the Dodgers bullpen is miles better than the Phillies bullpen, but it could be one of those weird day games. So give me both offenses here. I'm not touching either pitcher. Athletics at the Indians. Chris Bassett, Hound, taking on Eli Morgan. What's happening? Brand new whip just hopped in. Chris Bassett. Pretend that worked. It didn't really work. I might have to edit that out. 10K for DraftKings on Chris Bassett. Eli Morgan's 8,500. Athletics are an interesting stack to me here. 5.5 is their implied run total. Eli Morgan definitely can got a 2+ homer per nine to both sides of the plate. An extremely elevated fly ball rate. The hard contact rate's elevated as well. And I think if I was playing cash games on this slate, guys, you want to jot down one hitter so far that you have to take a look at, and you cannot not consider him. How about Starling Marte? And Marte Parte. He's 5,800. You got to go up there and get him, but I think there's plenty of value today. Look at this game log. It's stanky. It's dirty. It's disgusting. It's words. A run in every game in his last 8 games. Double-digit fantasy points. He is swiping bags. Swiper, no swiping. Yeah, Starling Marte is stealing bags at just a ridiculous clip. A stolen base in 4 games straight. He's getting on base 2 or more hits in all but one of his last 4 games. Man, this guy's just ridiculous. And you put his bat right now in the streak that he's on up against Eli Morgan and his weaknesses, which is average to righties and power to righties. Yeah, Starling Marte, you could play in my team today. 5,800, that's not going to be enough to get me away from him. And then the Athletics have a high enough run total that they're fine. I'm getting there as a stack for sure. And then Chris Bassett. I think we could play Chris Bassett. I talked earlier about where I would rank pitchers today. I think Brandon Woodruff, we'll talk about him in a minute. It's going to be clear-cut number 1. I think we can make a case for Tanner Huck. We can make a case for Marcus Stroman. But Chris Bassett's in the conversation as well. 10K feels like we're kind of overpaying, but I think it's fine. 26% K rate to lefties this season. Almost a 25%, closer to a 24% K rate to righties. Ground ball rate is really, really high against righties. And Jose Ramirez, he's going to bat lefty, and he's the most menacing bat here. So this lineup is going to be, can he use his righty splits to get through this lineup, and can he get Jose Ramirez out, right? I think Ramirez could be a problem here. He has a 4 rating on the bomb detector, and Bassett has shown some propensity to allow bombs to righties. But, I mean, we can't have perfect games every time we select a pitcher, right? So I'm hoping for a clean game from him, and hopefully he can get through J-Ram. But even if he doesn't, like, the rest of this lineup projects like a beatable lineup, a lot of 30+% K rate. So Chris Bassett is in the pitcher pool for me today. The Athletics stack is definitely one of my more sought after stacks so far. And then no Eli Morgan for me. And for the Indians, it's really just Jose Ramirez for me. And I'm not really all that interested in anybody else. Moving on to the Wrigley Field game. This game had some weather concerns yesterday, and then it had Corbin Burns, who was King Corbin for a day. He had 10 straight strikeouts at one point. I remember looking up, and the dude had just the dumbest strikeout to pitch count ratio I think I've ever seen in my life. He ended up with like 15. It was nasty. I'm not going to victory lap Corbin Burns, but he was my favorite pitcher of the day yesterday, and the Cubs showed why. So we're going to run it back, man. Brandon Woodruff on the bump here, 10.2K. He's got a 30% K rate to righties, a 31% K rate to lefties. On the road this year, he's been pretty doggone pristine. He's keeping the ball on the ground, and he's not generating much hard contact. So the Cubs are not good. A completely depleted team that has been fire-sold and just dumped off the edge of humanity. So Brandon Woodruff, you're in my mix here. He's got to be the SP1 on the slate, and he's probably going to be the most owned pitcher on the slate, especially after yesterday, but how can you argue against it? So make room for Brandon Woodruff. Kyle Hendricks pitching for the Cubs here. I think this one becomes a little bit more trolly to predict, but against lefties, a 4.89 xFIP this season, a 286 average allowed, a 1.75 home run per 9 allowed. There's a couple of lefties on the Brewers you might be interested in: Christian Yelich, Eduardo Escobar, Omar Narvaez, Garcia Parra, Narvaez. I wouldn't mind that, but I definitely don't have the warm and fuzzies here because Hendricks has played spoiler with someone who generates a lot of soft contact because he doesn't throw with much velocity. If you go look at that pitch report in the RunDFS.com MLB VIP spreadsheet, he's got a fastball averaging 87.2 miles per hour. I mean, that's a changeup for most every other pitcher in the league, and his changeup is 79 miles an hour. Curveball 73 miles an hour. Man, that's borderline an ephus pitch, right? So I do think he has a ability to be a little trolly, but I still think we have to get to some Brewer stacks, and we kind of gauge the ownership. I'm not going to allow anything push me off of Woodruff here. Even if Woodruff came in as egregious talk, like 50-60% owned, I'm just going to bite the bullet on that one. 5.5 is your run total for the Brewers. Cubs at 3.8. That's not good. Orioles hosting the Tigers. Matt Manning, definitely related to future Hall of Famer Eli Manning. Don't bother looking that one up. Orioles, John Means Business, lefty on the bump. The Orioles have an implied run total of 5.7. The weather is something to watch here. This is a real daytime game. 4:05 in Camden Yards, one of the more hitter-friendly parks in baseball. Looking like it could be close to 100 degrees out there, and that could create a lot of offense, and it makes me a little bit tentative on throwing John Means, who I think is a good pitcher, but his xFIP is well over 4, and his home run per 9 to righties almost 2.5 last season, 1.85 this season. Fly ball rate pretty doggone high. So there is some power in this Tigers lineup. Jonathan Scope, Jamer Candelario, Miguel Cabrera got him one last night, and Eric Haas, 1 OPS against lefties. That's what you want. The thing what means is he can get some strikeouts, a 13% swing and strike rate. In a pinch, he can miss some bats. So he's not a lock to get shredded. What seems a little bit more of a lock to get shredded is Matt Manning, 5.16 xFIP to righties, a 5.54 xFIP to lefties, 13.5% K rate to righties, a 361 average allowed, a 1.6 homer per 9 allowed to righties. Trey Mancini, Austin Hayes, I hate Austin, Pedro Severino, Maikel Franco, all guys that can generate a positive matchup here. Of course, Trey Mancini at the tippy top. In this Orioles lineup, check this out. Orioles have an implied run total of 5.7. Right now, I'm pretty sure that's the highest on this slate. Look at the prices of the Orioles. The most expensive guy is Trey Mancini, and then Cedric Mullins. Cedric Mullins leading the league in hits. Trey Mancini, their best player. After that, off a cliff. You want a 5-man stack this team? Why not? 3,500 and below. So you can easily get your Chris Bassett. You can easily get your Brandon Woodruff. Full stack, the highest run total team on the slate in near 100-degree weather in Camden Yards. Again, I'm saying that out loud. I can't imagine I'm the only person that would think that that's a potential possibility. So expect high ownerships. Maybe expect the field to be doing that. Leverage that accordingly. But the lineups kind of create themselves when you consider the price point, the totals, and what's available. Tigers-wise, I think you could stack the Tigers here. Like I said, I think their success rate's a little bit lower considering the matchup. The Tigers' bullpen is really bad. The Orioles' bullpen is really bad. It's really hot. It's a good park. Expect bad things to happen to good people. Could you play some John Means? I think you could. 9,200. I'm looking for 20 plus DKP. Would not be a high comfort click for me, but his 1 in 4 K rate against a Tigers lineup that's going to come out pretty doggone righty heavy more than likely could play, and maybe a couple of those fly balls die out at the track, but he wouldn't be anything more than a back of the pool option for me. Probably less than 10% in 150, and I'd be really focused on the offenses here, but mostly the Orioles, or more so the Orioles than the Tigers. Next game, Mariners hosting the Rangers. We got Mike Foltynewicz taking on Marco Polo Gonzalez. That makes no sense. It's stupid. Pretend I didn't say that. Mike Foltynewicz, 5,900 on DraftKings, 17.8% carry to righties, a 13.9% carry to lefties. The home runs are a problem. He loves bad pitches. That's his effing problem. 2.5 home run per 9 against lefties, a 2.2 against righties. Everyone with a bat is a problem. Mariners have a couple guys that look like they could be problems for Mike Foltynewicz. Mitch Haniger, Kyle Seager, the two guys that stick out the most. And Kyle Seager, I think, is going to have one of the highest bomb ratings on the slate. It's 4,400 on DraftKings, 3,800 on Fanduel. And JP Crawford, if he leads off, could be a sneaky swing of the bat. Not a guy that generates a ton of power, but this is a guy in Mike Foltynewicz that allows some surprise power from lefties. And I actually think Crawford's gotten Folty a time or two for the long ball. So give me some Mariners here. They have an implied run total of 5. The Rangers are at 3.6, and we've seen this story before. So check your DVR. Marco Gonzalez earlier this season was one of the highest owned pitchers on a slate that he was on against the Rangers, and it was here in Seattle. And because of him being chalk with the metrics that he has, a 5.67 xFIP to righties, a 3.74 xFIP to lefties, I was just like, dude, that doesn't deserve to be chalk. I'm on the other way here. In the Rangers lineup at the time, projected a little bit stronger against lefties. They had Joey Gallo at the time, and I ended up stacking Rangers, and it actually was the play in single entry to stack against the highest owned pitcher. Today's a little bit different because we've seen a couple of pitchers thrive, maybe more so than I expected against this Rangers lineup. So I'm kind of on the fence here. I feel like if Marco Gonzalez's ownership is going to be reasonable, 15% or less, I can teeter-totter, walk the fence here, and play both sides. Give me a couple Rangers bats, and give me a little bit of Marco Gonzalez, 6,700. I really just need 14, 15 DKP, and he did his job, right? And we've seen Marco kind of get through some games lately. Of course, that Yankee game was a game where the results, I think, were better than the process, and that's kind of been Marco's game lately. 5 strikeouts, 6.2 innings, 8 fly balls, 8 ground balls, was just throwing baseballs, and the defense was there for him. But I think against the Rangers, like, they're bad enough where you could see 6,700 falling into another decent game as an SP2, maybe offset Woodruff's price point, and get you some big bats. So I don't mind taking shots on Marco, but if his ownership gets a little too egregious, I'm talking if it gets to 15%, I probably don't have Marco just because I don't feel like he's actually good. A 297 average allowed this year to righties, a 217 home run per 9 allowed to righties, a 48.8% fly ball rate. Adolis Garcia is going to project extremely well for me. Andy, I took a pill, and Ibanez is going to project really well for me. If Jonah Heim cracks the lineup as a catcher for them, I like that. Laurel Hernandez. That's right, I said Laurel. Some of you guys might have heard Laurel. Or Yanni. I don't know. Yanni speed. Little speedster here. Might crack himself into the top of the lineup. We've seen him bat second, I believe, yesterday. We saw him steal 2 bags the day before, 2 hits. A little speed demon, right? You get him on the bags. Could be a guy that creates run RBI opportunities. So IKF, Yanni Hernandez, Adolis Garcia, Nate Lowe, Ibanez, and if Jonah Heim hit that lineup, I'd stack that lineup against Marco. I wouldn't give him like a ton of equity, but I'd be there on him. No Foltynewicz for me. Not going to be able to do it. You can stack the Mariners. I think both teams are stackable here, and Marco Gonzalez would be a decision I'd make as purely a leverage the field situation, right? If he's high owned, no thank you. If he's low owned, yeah, you could fill a role as an SP2, maybe get me 14, and we'll see what happens. We got one words. What the freak was that? I just started speaking in tongues. Also, Praise the Lord. RunDFS.com. One game left on the docket. Pause for the cause. RunDFS.com. If you guys want access to the spreadsheet, expedite your daily research process for baseball, because there's a lot that goes into it, go to RunDFS.com. Get signed up. $20. Get your week pass right now. That week pass, all those old passes, they're going to go up on September 1st. So enjoy the next 2 weeks before football comes back and spikes everything up. And then we're back to NBA, and it's just fun. Red Sox hosting the Rays. AL East battle for supremacy. Drew Rasmussen taking on Tanner Houck. So Tanner Houck is actually one of the guys I'm slightly interested in for this slate. He has the strikeout propensity, the ability to come out here and get a lot of strikeouts. Now, he hasn't been somebody that can get you 5 innings, get on the hook for a win, but I'm almost willing to accept that as something that I'm foregoing in lieu of the strikeouts. Strikeouts can still be king. 6, 7, 8 strikeouts in 4.2 or less innings his last 3 outings. And the matchups are tough, right? Yankees and the Blue Jays, a couple of heck, there was a appearance here against the White Sox as well. He's not having slates off right now, and his pitch count might be able to stretch to the mid 80s here. So best case scenario for Tanner Houck is to get to 5 innings, get a win, and hopefully you get 7 to 8 strikeouts in those 5 innings. And I think that's a risk I'm willing to take. Much like Marco Gonzalez, understanding that that's a risk. If the field was a little too high on him, taking that risk, maybe we roll back on it. But he's just got crazy strikeout ability. 34.3% K rate, a 12.4% swing and strike rate, expected ERA of 2.89. He's good. And the Rays, they'll strike out with the best of them, man. There's a lot of 1 and 4 K rates on this team. So I don't mind taking that chance on him. Fanduel, like I said, the quality start, the win bonus, all that really matters. And him not getting 5 innings is a problem and a risk. So it's more of an SP2 call for me on DraftKings. But yeah, Drew Rasmussen, I'm assuming it's just a opener for the Rays here. So let me double check that. 53 pitches his last appearance, so maybe gets to like 65, 68. I really can't get behind that. The Red Sox, man, they dropped a football game last night on the Rays here, so their bats are clicking here. Rasmussen has been pretty doggone solid, 30% K rate to both sides of the plate. Becomes a bullpen game, so you're kind of betting on talent if you get to the Red Sox, but they do have an implied run total of 5.7. It's over 90 degrees out there in Fenway. It's gonna be a hot day out there in the east side, so you can bet on talent here and just kind of hope it lands. And kind of the same with the Rays, right? If Houck might just be a 4-inning guy, maybe the Rays get into this bullpen, but it seems a little bit more likely for the Red Sox to be the better of the two offenses. Man, that is our look at the DraftKings early main slate. Hopefully it didn't take too long here. Kind of kept it simple, so if you guys appreciated that, hit that thumbs up, leave a comment, let me know what you're going to do with this slate. Talk it over, man. Let other people know. Give me your bomb picks in review. If I had to make a lineup with a couple guys that I have to have in like single entry, I think you're going to give me Brandon Woodruff. Chris Bassett, I'm very, very, very intrigued with. So I think we're going to load him up. I got to have Starling Marte. I think he would be my favorite cash game player today. And then we mentioned there's a couple cheapos on the Mets. Maybe let's get 4 bats. 4 bats from each. Not each, but let's just get 4 bats that project really, really well as an exercise. So who gives up a high average and a high homer per 9? Eli Morgan. We already have Starling Marte. Would we like to handcuff him to anybody? Maybe Jed Lowry or Matt Olson, but I could chill on that for just a moment. Keep it moving. Matt Manning. Okay, so we mentioned Trey Mancini's going to be expensive, but I can run back Austin Hayes, maybe Ramon Urias as guys that have a decent shot to take advantage of Manning splits. This is a high total Orioles team. What's my average per? 34. What's the cheapest catcher I can get? Cheapest catcher I can get that might leave me a little bit of room. Anything that looks like familiar. All these are some weird names. I think Jonah Heim was the guy I was really, really intrigued with. Hopefully he makes the lineup. You might see Austin Wynns hit this lineup as well because it is a weird game. His last start was the 10th, so it's the 12th, 8, 7. If he makes the lineup, he does fit the bill of a righty. He's not really like a great player, though. Cal Raleigh, let's play him. 2,400, lefty against faulty switch hitter. Sure, let's go in for that. Yanni Hernandez, 2.2K. Mentioned that he is really cheap. Speed demon. Yesterday we saw him bat second, so we'll put him in at Third base, that's rough. I really am just trying to get my average player remaining up a little bit. I want to give me some Mancini, get him in the mix at first base. So I'm going to go Baltimore. Let's get 2-2-2 and another 1-2, right? 2 Baltimore guys. So I'm going to go Mancini and Mullins. Two guys in the top of their order to take advantage of their run total. Starling Marte, who do we handcuff Marte to? We already gave up first base for Trey Mancini. He's not dual position eligible, right? Which means we would have to forego Matt Olson. So maybe Trey Mancini and either Canna or Jed Lowry would kind of be the names that stick out to me. So Canna is the leadoff guy. We really need to save some money. So let's go Jed Lowry, middle of the lineup, switchy. Did bat cleanup yesterday, batting second, 3,200 per. Is there a bottom of the barrel 2K special? Wade Park kind of would be interesting to me if he made that lineup. He's been really, really doggone cheap for them. But scrolling through here, I really want somebody to love me. Anthony Alford might be in the lineup for the Pirates. Could I get behind that? He's not in. Yeah, he's 7th in the projected lineup. He's bare bones mid. So stay with me on this one. We talked about him the other day. Anthony Alford in the minors. We'll pull up his minor league card on MLB.com and kind of show you what he did against lefties in the minors. He's pretty strong. So if he's going to go against a contact lefty today in Wade LeBlanc, against lefties, 45 at-bats, he batted .356, and he had 1 bomb in 45 at-bats, 4-to-1 stolen base to caught stealing ratio, 12 walks, and 5 doubles. So he slugged over 530 with a 1 OPS. So Alfred's probably a little bit too cheap if he's in this lineup against a contact lefty. That leaves me 4,400 for a shortstop. I don't think I'm supposed to make a full lineup here. So let's pretend like I didn't do this. And just like some names that float to me to start out a lineup. So maybe something I do. We'll take out the catcher spot here. Basically, the idea here is to grab 2 Baltimore bats, high run total there, 2 Oakland bats, high run total there, and a couple cheapies. Hernandez, if he's batting in the top of that lineup against a beatable hit for average pitcher in Marco Gonzalez, I think he's kind of cheap, and Alfred's really, really cheap considering his minor league pedigree. If we wanted to get a little bit froggier there, I would probably hang on to Brandon Woodruff unless you wanted to forego his high ownership. But you could sacrifice one of these two and maybe plump one of the cheaper SP2 options for a little bit more money, and then like a JT Brubaker and take a stab at his 1 and 4 K rates against righties. I don't know, just thinking out loud. Hopefully it's not overwhelming you guys. I appreciate you guys sticking with it, watching this video, man. I hope you guys crush this early slate. I hope you guys enjoy the Field of Dreams game later this afternoon. It sounds like it's going to be Lance Lynn versus Andrew Heaney. Which is a little bit more interesting than Heaney versus Rodon. Still a dangerous predicament for the Yankees no matter what. Yeah, Lance Lynn versus Andrew Heaney. But it should just be fun, man. I appreciate the spectacle that they've created. I actually went out of my way and watched Field of Dreams for the first time the other night. Just like feel like I can really appreciate it to the max. So if you got some time, it was easy to find online. Check that out. It was a cute little flick. And hopefully we enjoy a night of baseball. And a day of baseball if you're grinding this day slate, man. I hope you guys have an amazing day. Tomorrow we're back to normal first look video, waiting on you in the morning. Then we'll do a live stream, and then it's weekend time, man. Hope you guys get all of the money. Save a little bit of the money for me, but I hope you guys get most of the money. And I'll see you next time. I love you guys. Good luck. God bless. And go win some money. Channel memberships are live. If you've got love for me, I got love for you. Earn your status as a baller, legend, or Hall of Famer and get exclusive perks in this channel like members only video content, live streams, and rock those custom emojis and badges next to your name that you can flex in every comment section on this channel or in our live stream live chats. Memberships are the best way to show love for me, show love for the content, and make sure more content comes your way.